Like if you hired someone to write a script for a movie or a screenplay, something like that, about how a company goes from well-respected to not liked by a majority of the community, I'm not sure it would come out as effectively as reality has for the past month of Bethesda. So what exactly happened here? Well, basically yesterday, users found that as they were actually creating and going through Bethesda's support system, you could view the tickets of other people. So you'll be like, oh, that's not too big of a deal, but in a lot of these tickets, you had a considerable amount of information, including people's full name, their address, and sometimes even their date of birth. Because for a lot of these, naturally with the support ticket, people just kind of dump out information to try and be helpful while maybe giving a little bit too much. So if it was just that, it would be pretty bad, but this was actually exaggerated and made a bit worse by a decision from Bethesda a couple of days ago. If you guys do remember, they resolved the whole canvas bag or bag gate situation by allowing users to actually get a canvas bag after ordering the Power Armor edition. But you see, to actually get that bag, you had to submit certain information into the support system of Bethesda, submit a ticket, and then they'll give you a bag. So the form you have to fill out to get that bag is going to include your full name, your shipping address, your phone number, and probably the most concerning of all, your proof of purchase. The reason being, if you purchased it from GameStop or Best Buy, something like that, your receipt very likely could have the last 4 digits of your credit card number and the card type on it. So maybe any of these things individually wouldn't be a huge deal, but when taken all together, they give people a lot of opportunities, especially in the realm of social hacking, getting into people's accounts through saying, oh, I forgot my password. And then you could provide something like the last 4 digits of a credit card number, their address, things like that. So in other words, what I'm saying is, even though this would have been bad to begin with, the fact that just 2 days ago Bethesda released the support ticket means that there were probably hundreds, if not thousands, of additional tickets with even more personal info than there typically would be, because I have to imagine most people wouldn't include their address, phone number, or receipt in one of these tickets, but as a result of that, you got access to a lot more information. So shortly after this popped up, it seemed like Bethesda actually did resolve it, at least somewhat. We did get a response on their official forums from one of the community managers saying, hi guys, we've resolved this issue. For a while, that was really the only response they had thus far, but since then we got a more official response that was apparently posted on Reddit, but I think it might have got deleted, and now it's actually on their official Twitter. That saying, we experienced an error with our customer support website that allowed some customers to view support tickets submitted by a limited number of other customers during a brief exposure window. Upon discovery, we immediately took down the website to fix the error. We are still investigating this incident and will provide additional updates as we learn more. During the incident, it appears that username, name, contact information, and proof of purchase information provided by a limited number of customers on their support ticket requests may have been viewable by customers accessing the customer support website for a limited time, but no full credit card numbers or passwords were disclosed. We plan to notify customers who may have been impacted. Bethesda takes the privacy of our customers seriously, and we sincerely apologize for the situation. So if this happened in isolation, it would be a big deal, no doubt about it, but the fact that it's coming off of all of this other bad press is going to really take it to the next level. A lot of the other stories I feel like wouldn't have been nearly as big of a deal, but this one has its own legs to stand on. In general, Bethesda is probably going to come under fire by certain regulatory commissions, such as the General Data Protection Regulation, something that you do find in the EU. They regulate certain aspects of your privacy and what kind of information about you can be disclosed, and this was a violation of that. Technically, Bethesda has to submit a form to them within a certain amount of time, and just the main takeaway should be this is a pretty big deal, both for consumers and consumer trust, but also with the law and regulatory committees. If you submitted a ticket into the system, I would just be cautious about what information you did share, take a look at that receipt, which credit card was on it. Now, in all likelihood, you are 100% fine. Someone having the last 4 digits of your credit card number isn't a massive deal, although it is definitely concerning. I would just keep an eye on that account, but I don't think you have to outright close that credit card, at least not yet. What I would be more concerned about is people potentially getting access to accounts you do have. Like I said, social hacking's a very real thing, and it just takes one person getting access to the system and wanting to abuse it and trying to figure out what options they have available. As far as my personal take on this, it's just like insane. I can't believe there's another controversy about this game and this company. And at this point, it's not just unlucky. It's not like they've had unfortunate circumstance. This is a result of decisions made by people at this company, and I think as a result, you need to have management changes. It's just unacceptable for this many mess ups in this short of a time period. It seems like those consumers who were still on the fence or maybe still supporting Bethesda have largely abandoned that post. This especially following yesterday's stealth changes with the patch. But speaking of those stealth changes, somebody actually made a really good thread on the Fallout 76 subreddit explicitly saying what was changed and how it was changed. This is far more detailed than the official patch notes, and some of the notable takeaways are fusion core generators at workshops in Fallout 76 went from producing 12 fusion cores per hour to 0.8 per hour. Like at that point, they're pretty much useless. I wouldn't even bother turning them on. And just across the board, you could pretty much see all of the different data changes. This is the kind of stuff you would want to see in the patch notes. It's kind of what you'd expect in the patch notes, but unfortunately, we had to wait till a user extracted the data himself. Either way, it's still very useful, and I will have a link to it down below. But this actually gave a response to the community backlash following some of these hidden changes. On the official Bethesda Game Studios Reddit account, they do say, "Hi everyone, we want to let you know that we're working on this. We will have more information for you all ASAP." So the natural takeaway and what people responded was, what? What are you working on? What are you trying to improve on? The community lead from Bethesda did respond with better answers, patch notes that are comprehensive, and information on why changes are happening. Now that last point in particular, I'm really excited to see. I feel like that would make a big difference with some of these balance changes, as we will likely get more and more of them as the bug fixes get less and less. Like, why did they nerf all of the workshops? What is the logic behind that? I feel like League of Legends is one game that actually does a really good job at this. It shows you the exact value changes as well as the rationale between those value changes. Doesn't mean you're going to agree with them, it doesn't mean they're even going to be justified, but at least seeing where they're coming from does help a lot with understanding it and actually critiquing it. With these workshop changes, it felt like it just came out of nowhere and was totally unjustified. Some people questioned as to why Bethesda wasn't doing this already, and the same community lead actually responded with, "If I could change what went out yesterday, I would. It's a learning point, and you guys should benefit from better patch notes moving forward." So take away from that what you will. Many people saying, how did you not know this already? And yeah. But as one final thing, not directly related to Fallout 76 per se, but related to the Fallout franchise. Do you guys remember that Nuka Dark Rum? It was advertised quite a while ago and it seemed like a genuinely cool product, although definitely on the pricey side. I thought about buying it, thought, well, okay, that's way too expensive, but actually ended up getting one as a result of going to the Greenbrier. Everyone there is getting one for free. So this freaking thing is expensive. I believe the retail was $80, and then with shipping and taxes, one guy's reporting he paid $97 in total for a bottle of rum. A lot of people justified this because, well, the bottle looks freaking awesome. If you look at some of the images of this thing, it's cool. This thing had some delays. It was supposed to ship out in December, but unfortunately got pushed back, and now apparently it's shipping out in the next couple of weeks. They released an update video, and lo and behold, the bottle actually goes in a plastic encasing. That thing you see isn't the genuine bottle. It's not shaped glass or anything like that. It's just an encasing of the true bottle. Needless to say, a lot of people that spent their almost $100 on this are pretty upset. I had this at the Greenbrier event. They were serving it there. I have to imagine not many of you guys actually ended up buying this, but to put it in comparison, I normally drink like Diplomatico or El Dorado 15. I would pick either of those over this one, both of them being quite significantly cheaper. So hey, hopefully you like the bottle, even though it's plastic. But that's pretty much it as far as the Fallout 76 and Bethesda news go. It sucks that there's so much negative stuff. I think a lot of us want Bethesda to do better, but they are seemingly just doing worse and worse every single week. Now this one does seem particularly unfortunate, like it really is just kind of a hiccup or a mistake somewhere, but that's the kind of stuff that shouldn't be allowed to happen. And when you have so many other hiccups or mistakes along the way, it really doesn't seem like it's an accident or just an oversight. But even beyond that, actually something later today, I'm going to be doing a live stream for the Game Awards. This largely because there's a couple of announcements that I think should be pretty interesting. Whatever Obsidian's working on, that of course being the developer behind Fallout New Vegas, and recently they've been doing a lot of stuff I'm not too interested in, but some interviews over the past year and a half have indicated that they're working on an RPG and it's one of their biggest projects as of late. And of course, they recently were just bought by Microsoft. But even beyond that, there's actually a new Far Cry trailer. They showed a teaser yesterday and it looks like very Fallout-y, like post-apocalyptic Far Cry, and I would be down for that. I want to see what they do with it. So yeah, I think I'm going to live stream it or live stream over it at like 7 p.m. Eastern time and just kind of give my reactions. But either way, before we end things off, I do want to give today's psychology fun fact of the day, and that's going to be on like courtroom processes or just kind of a misconception about courtroom processes. Something that I feel like the everyday person doesn't realize, that someone to make a decision in court, like the person that's on trial, has to actually have the competency to make that decision. So this is for a variety of things. You do have a competency to actually stand trial itself, but then you also have other competencies like to plead guilty, to waive your right to an attorney. It's not like just anyone can be like, yep, nope, I don't want an attorney. I'm smart enough to do this on my own. Typically, if there's a doubt that you actually can do that, like let's say you have some mental disorder or something along those lines, a psychologist will come in and have to evaluate you and say, yes, he is able to do that. During that evaluation, you typically need two things. You have to understand what the decision means. So like understand that you waiving your right to an attorney means you're going to represent yourself. But even beyond that, one of the even more critical ones is actually to appreciate this, to be able to actually apply it to your own situation and recognize how it's going to affect you personally. Just an understanding is enough because some people have delusions thinking like, oh, the judge is in love with me, so even though I'm going to waive my right and I understand what that means, I'm still going to get acquitted or proven not guilty because the judge has a strong affection towards me. One of the more interesting competencies that has popped up as of late is actually to be put to death. If you have a severe mental disorder or intellectual disability, you actually cannot be put to death. It's been found unconstitutional. But either way, yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. As always, again, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.